are here representing standard raising, basically, in a nutshell, and certification with that, and that is very complex. We don't have ISO here, but there is that, of course, that sort of gradation, isn't there, in terms of standards. How quickly are people adopting your principles and your process? I think you have 27 senior CEOs at the moment. Let's be honest, it's a big world out there. 27's a small number.
It is. Look, there are 25,000 mining companies globally, of which 24 are represented in ICMM. So it's a tiny portion based on total number, but we do account for 1/3 of the global industry. So it's a substantial portion, and when the chief execs personally commit to adopting high standards of social and environmental practice, which are codified in our 10 mining principles, it sends a message to the world. And the message is that, just like Bruce was saying, the materials we produce are absolutely essential to modern life, but we're not going to produce them at any cost. That is what society is expecting us to promise them. That even though what we produce is really important, there are things we will not do when it comes to keeping people safe, to making sure that the environment doesn't suffer unduly, to make sure that people's rights are respected. We will make sure that the stuff we produce, important as it is done maximally responsibly. And David, of course, I would wish in one fell swoop for the entire industry to adopt our standards or even higher standards. It's not the case, but we must work tirelessly to make sure that everyone is complying with at least, at a bare minimum, national law, but ideally going above and beyond that with the voluntary codes.
There was a fairly clear message in the ministerial roundtable, I thought, which was, don't bombard us with standards and certification either. You need, if you're going to have it, you've got to have a sort of one, not one size fits all, but one standard, effectively.
Or at least a small number. It may not be one. Let me just say, a lot of people will have come here on an aeroplane. We've been seeing what's been happening with the Boeing aeroplanes in the last week or so. Would people feel safe if just any airline or aircraft manufacturer could say to the world, look, trust me, I'm safe because I've adopted this random standard you've never heard of? No, we wouldn't want that. We would want everybody following a common set of rules that we can all trust. So why is it different for minerals? That's where we need to get to. We have seen the growth of standards in the last 2 decades, which has been a good thing, but the time is now to consolidate them into a smaller number. And for those that weren't at the ministerial, I announced that we are working with 3 other standard owners, the Copper Mark, the World Gold Council, and the Canadian standard, to bring our 4 standards into a consolidated common standard that anybody can adopt.
How do you reach that sort of issue in terms of ICMM or any other standard? Because that's not even on the chart, it seems to me, when you're dealing with suppliers down there or stakeholders down that end of the chain.
It's getting there, actually, David, where most of our standards now require the mining company to look at their priority suppliers and ensure that their priority suppliers are doing the work to make themselves more responsible, just in the way that Andrew has talked to us. That's when you get large-scale change. We can be catalytic because we are very important to our suppliers. So when we insist that suppliers do something, it works. I'll give you an example. Many people know that we now have electric vehicles. We can all drive passenger cars on batteries. But try driving a 400-ton truck on anything other than diesel. You can't, because it needs to pull such loads. Now, Temba's company showed great leadership by building the first hydrogen battery-powered 400-ton truck in South Africa. But 99% of all mining vehicles run on diesel. Because what did our suppliers say to us? Well, we would produce them if we knew you would buy them. And what were we saying? We would buy them if we knew you would produce them. So we got them together. We got 19 of the OEMs together, the likes of Caterpillar, Komatsu, and Sandvik, together with the mining companies, and said, right, we're going to speak with one voice here. We need low-emission vehicles now. And you know what's happened? Initially, in 2016, 17, when the project was launched, we thought we'd have these trucks available by 2040. They're available today. That is the power of the industry saying to our suppliers, we expect this.